Yeah, hi everyone, this is Clay from Cool Stuff Tech and More, and I've got another mixing board review for you. For those of you who have followed some of my other reviews, you know I'm looking for a sub mixer to use with my regular mixer that all of my amps and speakers are connected to is this Mackie board over here, but I want something that can nestle in close to me on the drums and change effects and EQs on the fly without getting up. So I started out reviewing a $100 board made by Fluode, 12 channels, and the effects, everything was great about the board, but the effects weren't great. So I sent that back and I ordered the Mizizner 16 channel board with 99 built-in effects, and that was a very nice board, but the recording lacked on it. So I sent that back and I've got now a $300 board. And you may have seen that I did a comparison. This is the GMark 16. You can see the model right here. GMark MG16MP3. And I did a, not really a review, but a comparison between the layout of this board and the Yamaha MG16XU. And they were remarkably identical. It looked like the same case, the same controls, built-in compression. The only thing that was different is that this GMark had a built-in USB interface for Bluetooth. And because of that, this section changed just a little bit. But almost everything else about this board looked the same. And you can go on my channel and you can look at that comparison. But because the Yamaha board was $600 and this GMark board was $300, I said, well, this is the next board I need to try out and see if this fits the bill for what I'm looking for. So I bought it and I'm putting it through its paces. This is my third or fourth day playing with this board, and I like it. It's got some really great features for $300. And I also ran into one thing in the instruction manual is actually better than most. It does tell you some of, the features and how to use them. But there was actually a section in here that said, oh, this particular feature applies to the XU model only. And I thought, well, wait a minute. MG16XU is the model of the Yamaha board I was comparing this to. So I'm wondering if I got a $600 board, with kind of a generic brand for $300, a little bit more than 300. So let's just jump in here. I'm going to break this review down because there's so much on this board to tell you about. It might take more than one video. So let's just start with what I've got set up here. In the front, you can see I've got my drums set up. These are all my drum mics, and over here I've got my outs, so I could go to I'm actually a sub mixer, so this is going to my Mackie as 2 channels, and then I got my headphones in here. Now I haven't got the Mackie turned on right now, so I'll have to do that in a little bit as we start going through if I want you to hear things. But when we go into the recording, I'm actually going to record to using Audacity to this laptop, and then I'll give you those, so you can hear those files. I'll include that audio at the end or somewhere in the video. So let's talk about the back of the unit. Hang on a second. Let me just pause. All right, so there's not that much in the back of the unit to talk about. You've got your power cord, on-off switch, and a USB 2 connector here. Now below that that's going to go to your PC for recording. Below that are 2 other, and this is kind of hard to see, USB jacks. If you need power to a laptop or a phone for charging, if you're using that with Bluetooth into the mixer, you've got 2 ports for that. Really nice that they provided those. And let me show you something else you can do with those. I like to have a little light for the mixer because a lot of times you're working, people want mood lighting. They don't want fluorescent lighting when you're playing. So I'm just going to plug in just show you what we got here so you can see I've got a USB light that I can plug in there as well. And you can see the back of the board a little better now. And I can also bring that up if I want to get a little more light on any of the, I think it's pretty well lit in this room right now, but if we were playing and the lights were down and we had just kind of some, flashing colored lights or something like that going on, you'd want a little bit more on the board so you can see what you're doing. All right, so let's go back around to the front of the board. All right, so I'm going to go through the channel strip in this section. Then I'm going to pause, and it may be a separate video if it gets too long, and we'll go into other features as separate videos. But let's take a look at what we've got here. So I'm going to assume you understand how channel strips, are typically set up, and I'm going to talk about very briefly what this board gives you and highlight some of the things that are really nice. You should know about your gain switch when you're setting up your mic. You got a PFL, I call it profile sometimes, but it really stands for pre-fader level test. And just very quickly, if I go to channel 2, which is my snare, and I would probably set this up initially with the gain at 0, with the slider, the fader all the way down. I'd hit my PFL button, and now the signal from that channel is going to come over here and light the level meters. And again, I said I wasn't going to do this, but it's really quick. So now what I want to do is I want to bring up, just using the gain switch, bring that up until I'm getting close to 0 dB. Dial it in a little bit more. Yeah, we're getting up there now. Okay, so I should just start to see the yellow on the loudest strikes come up. Don't go to the red. Red bad, yellow just a little bit. Okay, so now you got your gain dialed in. Now you can bring this up listening to the mix until you get it where you want it. Now I've already done that, so I'm just going to put that back to where it was right here. All right. And like I said, I don't have the Mac mixer on, but through my headphones, I could hear that right now. Take the PFL button off when you're done. And to remind you, there's a flashing light right there for PFL. Now, I still have the little protective strip on here, but I think you can see that that's your PFL right there. And it's flashing. As soon as I take that PFL button off, that goes out. So that is just a reminder for you that you've got your one of those buttons pressed. Okay. Now, below that, and this is really nice, you've got built-in compression. Now, what compressors do, these are usually external devices. If your mixing board, like my Mackie, has an insert jack, you can actually plug in a TRS cable, take it over to a compressor, have that voice or whatever signal compressed. And compression is basically trying to bring the level of very low signals up and make sure that your super loud signals don't clip. And it actually adds a little warmth. So I'm just really thrilled. And you're not going to hear it. It's a very subtle thing. Even through the headphones, I have to, play soft, and I can tell that, oh yeah, my level's a little bit louder when the compression's on than when I play soft and I don't have the compression on. You've got your normal frequency, high, mid, and low trim pots here, potentiometers here. And you have one other thing. There's like a fourth one in here that's called a sweep. And what that does is it allows me to set the mid frequency for the center frequency for the mid adjustment. So this one, and you can see 250 to 5K. So those are the frequencies that dial is going to set as the center. And then this would attenuate around that frequency. Probably so many octaves or whatever, but that'll be in the technical specs. So I'm just going to keep everything centered. Then you've got your low frequency here. Okay. 100 kilohertz and, you know, plus 15, minus 15. So below that you have 1, 2, 3, 4 aux buses that you can send signals to. So you could use those for monitors, you could use those for external effects. But the fourth one that's white is actually double duty. It will send signals out in aux 4, but it's also going to control the level for your internal effects. This has an effects processor. You see, getting a little glare though, but you can see a 1 there. I'm set for effect number 1, and if you look on this list right here, that is a hall reverb effect. You can see there's a lot of reverb, different size hall, room, so there'll be a less of an reverb effect in a room than there would be in a hall. Stage, plate, drum ambience adds a little gating, so if you hit your snare drum and you've got 8 set, you'll hear the sound, and then it kind of cuts off, so you don't get that aftertone, you know, that ring out that a tom or some other drum might have. It gates it. So anyway, there's quite a few effects on here. Not as many as the Mazizner. The Mazizner had very nice effects, and it had 99 of them. But basically, you know, this one has 24, and you've got, you can change it with this button. And then if it has parameters like how much reverb you want to put on, you'll use the second dial. So basically to change it, let's see if I can get both in here. You turn this knob and then push it. Now you're set for 2. Go back to 1, push it. Okay. So aux 4 is going to send this channel so much of the signal to the effect that's currently selected, effect 1. You got your pan, which is, I mean, like all mixing boards, you're going to pan left and right on some, or you're going to keep it dead center if you want it to both. And then you got a mute or on-off switch. So this determines whether this goes to the main mix or not, or to any of the buses you've selected. Your main mix is down here with stereo. If that's pushed down, the signal will go to the main mix. You have 2 other buses, and they're saying 4, but 1 and 2 is like left and right. So there's your 1 group. There's your next group, and those can be used for different things. Those could be used for monitors as well. So if you want this channel to go to any of those buses, you need that to be on. And then you've got how much of that signal do you want to go to those buses. So you can adjust that. Once you get your gain set up so that it's correct, as I was demonstrating, you don't touch that again. If you need to bring a channel up or down, that individual channel needs to go a little louder, a little softer, use this. Okay, so I meant to mention, there's also on each channel a pad switch, and if you push that down, it's going to attenuate or drop the level of that signal by 26 dB. And I'm going to take that off because I don't need it. And you also have a high-pass filter, and you can see it says 80 hertz. And what that does is if you push that down is it attenuates any frequency in this signal on this channel that's 80 hertz or lower. So it'll just, you know, any maybe if you strike your bass drum and you get some aftertone that you don't like, that can help cut that out sometimes. And this is actually my bass drum right here. So I think I'm going to keep that pushed down. I want that on. The other thing on the strip that I forgot to mention is there on aux 2, there is a pre button that you can push down. And what that means is the signal that it sends when you turn aux 2 up can either be pre-fader if this is pushed in, or post-fader, meaning that the signal will travel all the way down here and also be attenuated or whatever you're doing with it here. The level will be determined before sending it out this aux 2. So for me, most of the time, I think I'm going to want to have that pre. If you're going to use aux2 to go to an external effects processor, I want the signal to be determined by the gain only, because I never touch this after the fact. Once this is set, I leave that alone. If I want something louder or softer on that channel, I'm going to use my faders for that. And so if you want a consistent signal and you don't want to have to guess about how much signal is going to your aux2 external effects processor, I would push that down and select pre. Okay. I'm going to stop at that point. That's the channel strip, and then we'll pick up again and cover some more of the features in the next section.